Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today on another session of Cook and Bake with Samir. Today, I am making for you a Middle Eastern Lebanese dish type that I've had for many, many times throughout my life, something that I really enjoyed. It's called kafta with potatoes and tomatoes, but it's really kafta with potatoes as a general term. Kafta, it's a Middle Eastern. It's cooked many different ways throughout the Middle East, but the main ingredients usually are onion. I have ground beef, onions, and parsley, and the different peppers that you would put with it and spices. Uh, so I'm going to be using about 1.25 pounds of ground beef. If it's a pound that you have, is fine. I'm going to be using also a 9 by 13 pan, baking pan. We will use a medium-sized onion, 4 medium-sized potatoes. Will be like about this size. 4 medium-sized potatoes. If they're larger ones like this big, then use 3. We're going to use half a cup of fresh parsley, 1 tablespoon of fresh lemon juice, and 1 teaspoon of allspice. If you have allspice, 7 spice, 5 spice, different spices mixed together, I like to add that to it. 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon and 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, and 2 teaspoons of salt, and about 1.5 teaspoons of black pepper. Also, half a cup of tomato paste, and or that small 6-ounce can of tomato paste. And we will need also 1.5 cups of water, and we'll show you how we're going to do things. First, what I'm going to start with is I'm going to use a food processor for the onions, the parsley. I'm also going to add the spices to them, and to mix them all together. And then I'm going to mix them by hand with the ground beef. You can add them in there. They'll end up being a little bit more creamy, but it's okay. So this is what we're going to do. I'm adding that in there. I have here the half a cup of fresh parsley. They look beautiful here. Very, very nice. Oh, they smell so good too. I'm not going to add all the salt right now. I'm putting about half of it. I'll add to when I put them with the meat. I'm going to add it there. I'll put all the allspice in here. Here's the cinnamon, the cumin, and let's cover and start chopping and mixing. I'm chopping it a little bit at first here, just so I can see how it's going, and then I'm going to run it on low because I want them to just mix together. There we go. I think that's good. It looks good to me. Oh yeah, yeah. See if what about 20 seconds? Also, obviously, it depends on the type you have of the food processor, but it doesn't need more. Here, oh yep, everything looking good. All right, I'm going to put the ground beef in a dish, and then I'll show you how we start mixing them together. I have the ground beef here in a bowl, and I went ahead and added the pepper in there since I didn't add it with the vegetables, but it's okay. It's not going to hurt anything. And I'm going to start mixing them together. I'm going to do it by hand. We need to mix them well so everything gets incorporated into the meat, so all the flavors of the parsley, the onions, the spices and the herbs are all incorporated in the meat. And here I'm adding the rest of the salt, and let's go ahead and put the spices and the onions and the parsley to mix with the beef. And I apologize for the sound as well. It's just we had little technical difficulties, but we're improvising. uh, I appreciate your patience with this. I know you won't be able to hear all the clicking and all these things that are happening right now. But I also want to tell you that after this dish is done and if you're having it for the next day and things like that, when you're warming it, I like when you're warming it up, I don't use the microwave. I like to warm it up whether uh, if you have a little toaster oven to put it in there, I could put it in a little pan and put it in the oven and warm it up that way. I just don't like the meat after it's warmed up in the microwave. I'd rather have it warmed up in an oven. The microwave gives it a little bit different taste. But see how we're mixing here, mixing it together good, kind of folding it and folding everything together, and it's a simple process. And I like to use gloves to just it's easier keep your hands cleaner, even though you can wash them, but it's pretty quick. You see how things are mixing up, and then I'm going to put them into a 9 by 13 pan that I've buttered quickly because the meat that I use is a 93.7 in the consistency. It's really light thin of butter that I put on there, just so you know. Here's the pan that I mentioned, and you could barely see any of the butter that I put on there, just very thin coat. It's not any thick, and you just lay the meat mixture right in there, and you spread it even, and you just kind of feel it thickness. Depending, my pan is shorter, wider, but it's still really the same thickness. So on the average, about a 9 by 13 pan. And you always see me using like 1.25 pounds or 1.33 pounds, just the packages that I purchase. That's how they come pre-done, and this is the real speed. I know it might look like I've sped up the camera while my hand is moving, but it's not really, just the real speed of how I was doing this. It kind of looks funny, like I sped up the camera, but it's not. That's how I was doing it, and then I was feeling okay. Is there any areas that might be thinner or not? It's not going to affect the cooking method if you had some areas that were a little bit thinner than others. But also we're going to put holes in it. So look, I took it all the way to the edges, and now I'm going to put holes in the meat, mainly so when it's shrinking, it'll all become together. Plus, all the juices that we're going to make from the tomato paste and the water will all go in there and get embedded within the meat, so they're all marinated while they're cooking together. Look how beautiful the kafta looks. Doesn't this look delicious? Just it sitting there in the pan. Now we're going to start with the potatoes. As I mentioned, we were using 4 medium-sized potatoes. This is a little bit bigger than the other ones, but it's okay. So 4 medium ones. The thickness of the potato needs to be about no more than 1/4 inch. So I don't know if you could see the thickness here, because really the food is done when the potatoes are done. So 1/4 inch. I've preheated the oven to 425. I'm going to have it in there I'm going to bake it for 45 minutes. So here, look how I'm going to line up the potatoes right around the pan. And what we need to do is cover the whole pan or the meat with the layer of the potatoes. And then we will put the layer of the tomatoes. And here, as I mentioned before, I had 4 heads of potatoes. I ended up using 3 because one of them was much bigger, which was fine. And you'll see what we did with the, actually the camera crew did with the extra potato head. Now that I'm done with the potatoes, I'm going to start work on the tomatoes. I'm going to be using 4 medium size of these tomato heads here. And I'm also going to cut them about a 1/4 inch in the thickness. And just to cover the pan. Now, if for some reason you don't like tomatoes, then you don't have to put those in there. And I'll also show you what I like to do after I put the tomatoes up there. I finished putting the 4 tomatoes. As you could see, they're right around a 1/4 inch. But look how beautiful this looks right now. And we're building what we need to do. So here I have 1.5 cups of water at room temperature. And I'm going to add in there the 1 can of tomato paste, and which is probably end up being, it's right around 1/2 cup. Also, today you can hear the camera crew. See, there we go. We get this off of it. And I'm going to mix them well together and then put them over it. And I like to, I'm adding the, by the way, the 1 tablespoon of fresh lemon juice. And now I'm going to mix them together. If you want to use a fork or a whisk like this, mix them well together. So, and I'm using it's just room temperature water. It's not like warm or cold. Or what I like to do is after I put the sauce on there, I still like to go quickly over it with some fresh pepper to put it over them. Not heavy, just a quick. I'll show you. There we go. Now they are ready. Look at that. All right, let me move this closer to us. And we just, pour the sauce right over it. And don't make a mess like I do. And there we go. Remember also the tomatoes will give us some juices in there. What we're going to do also is cover it with aluminum foil and put it in the oven on the lower rack for 45 minutes, and then we check the doneness of the tomatoes, but mainly the potatoes. So there we go. Just a quick pepper on top of the tomatoes there. And they're trying to help me get the aluminum foil. They got the wrong size one, but there, it's okay. We won't hold it against the camera crew. There, I'm going to clean this up real quick. That's it. We're going to cover it and bake it covered for 45. Now I'm putting it right in the oven here. We have to be too careful with our fingers not to burn them too much. And there we go. We'll set the timer for 45 minutes and we'll come back and check on it. Now the kafta's been in the oven for 45 minutes and at 425. What I'm doing right now is I need to check the doneness of the potatoes first. And I'll also do need to taste for the salt. Let's check here. So there are two ways we can check it, right here, or just remove it and put it on the stove and do it there. I think it might be better. Let's do it that way so it's a lot safer. And oh, it smells so nice. The aroma from all the herbs and the tomatoes and everything else. Oh, look how it's still bubbling. The tomatoes definitely look done to me. Let me just feel the potatoes here. The potatoes are good. Oh yeah, they're good. But what I'm going to do is also I'm going to put it back in there uncovered for 10 minutes. But I want to taste for the salt a little bit. So what I'm going to do is put in a little container here, mainly so to cool off a little bit. Let me try it here. Still hot. The salt, the pepper, the taste of everything is excellent. It doesn't need anything. So now we're going to put it back in the oven for 10 minutes uncovered, and still in the same spot. I just want to reduce it a little bit, and again, also this is one of those dishes that day after day becomes tastier and tastier. So we'll come back in 10 minutes and take a look. Our kafta has been in the oven for 10 minutes after we uncovered it. Uh, uh, the juices kind of combined a little bit. And again, like I mentioned, tomorrow this is going to be like 10 times tastier than what it is today. And so let me show you. There are so many different ways to eat it. I know there's the ways I like to eat it, and the way I like to eat it, you might think, oh, Sammer, that's you already have potatoes in there. That's already a starch. Why are you also eating it with bread? It's because that's how I like to eat it. And it honestly it gives it a really good flavor. And it's important to eat it with all the things that you are uh, with all, like each bite to have the tomato, the look at that juice. Look at that juice. Oh, can you see? Oh, very tasty, and also it smells so nice around the kitchen. The aroma of all the herbs, the aroma of the kafta, and as I mentioned, this is a Middle Eastern dish. It's done. The kafta is done differently in many different ways, and also you probably have had it on skewers and things like this. So here's one way to eat it is to take a spoon like this with some of the juice there. Uh, it's a little hot, but while it's cooling off, remember I made like about I had a small head of potato that was extra. So the camera crew put this in the air fryer. Uh, they put olive oil, fresh oregano and thyme, and paprika, and salt and pepper, and mix them all together and put it in the air fryer. Now we have like French fries. It's really, really good. So there was a bonus for you today about what to do. And you can do that in the oven. If you don't have an air fryer, do the same thing, mix them up. Probably about 5 minutes on each side, max. And then they come out just like very, very tasty. Some will come out crispy, some might not, but it's okay. They're really tasty. All right, so let's take a little taste here. Mm. I could taste it's the flavor of all those herbs mixed together in the meat and in the tomatoes and the potatoes. It's just a lovely, lovely taste. None of the herbs or the juices that we put overpower the other. They're just all excellent mixed together there. But let me show you how I truly eat it. And I like to eat it with pita bread. Here's a slice of pita. We would take it like this. You can cut it with the spoon to get to here, but I'm putting a piece of tomato, piece of potato, a piece of meat, and kind of soak the bread there. Mm, really, a lot tastier even with that little piece of bread. Uh, I haven't tried it with toast, but I eat it all the time with the pita bread. I really enjoy eating it, and pita bread is thin, so it's not you're not getting a lot of carbs. Or if you need to have whole wheat bread, it's good. Um, I hope you enjoyed being with me today. Please don't forget to subscribe and tell me what you think. Try it. And if you didn't want to make that big, 9 by 13, you can make half a pound, and just make everything in half. And you should do great. And again, let me know how it goes. Push the button like there, and subscribe, and don't forget to always give me any recipes you like me to try, any things you like me to make. I'm always happy to do so. I always receive these special requests, and I enjoy doing it. Okay, until next time, take care. Bye bye.